Hello, how are you?
I mean, I gotta say, I'm good.
Yeah, me
With
too.
this breaking news that the transition to President Biden is official.
Yes.
And now, just perfect timing for some good news with rolling out this great news for Georgia, of course, and all the plans. I'm so excited that we are launching here tonight to
I
get all
am
the
too.
ladies involved.
We needed some good news too. I mean, just needed something to pick us up, and get
Thank
us
you.
motivated. So I'm ready.
Between that and I'm sorry, what did you say was in that drink you're drinking again?
I have got a peach for Georgia because Georgia's on everybody's mind. A little
Yes.
bit of tequila and some ginger beer.
Ah, I
It's
love it. All right.
delicious.
Well, I've got a little sweet tea here, and this is in honor of my home state
All right.
because I come from Georgia, and look, I this is not as good as like how we used to get it at the varsity. And I miss the Waffle House all the time too. But still, it's making me feel in the spirit, and I'm feeling the good news. So, all right, Maya, let's tell the people who we are since we are doing this joint venture tonight, and I'm so excited we're teaming up. Okay, so I'm Katie Paris, and I founded Red Wine and Blue, and we mobilize suburban women. We harness that power of women in the suburbs. And did you all hear that like the suburbs were a thing in the 2020 election? Like that was a story. That was good. Helping flip places blue, just like Georgia. And we've been talking to local people on the ground and just hearing how important the suburbs are going to be in this runoff too. So we just wanted to help out and do everything we can to complement all those efforts that are going on the ground to make sure that we bring that suburban woman power to this fight through these networks. So, our national network has grown. Suburban Housewives Against Trump Facebook group is now like over 200,000 women. And then meanwhile, Maya, you got, say who you are.
I'm Maya Guy, and I started Suburban Women for Kamala Harris. And I didn't do it with the intention of mobilizing individuals to do stuff. I did it for like a social thing. But the people who came were like, let's do stuff. Yeah. And so we did a lot of stuff. We fundraised, text bank, just the things that your group did. We basically we turned stuff, we did stuff.
That's right. And so the first thing we did, of course, because everyone wanted to help out in Georgia, we got up here on right here, drinkcheapwine.com. That's where, if you haven't donated yet, join the Suburban Woman Winefield Rebellion right now. Your donation, every dollar is immediately split between the Warnock and Ossoff campaigns and Stacey Abrams' amazing fair fight. But we kept hearing from all of you in our groups. Between these two groups, we're talking about like 450,000 people hearing from you all, women inside of Georgia and out. What can we do? What can we do to help flip the Senate, help save democracy? And so we wanted to combine with talking to, all of our friends on the ground there in Georgia, figure out how we could help most. So tonight we are here to plug you in. All right, we're going to talk more details about that and bring on some women who are kicking butt on the ground in Georgia. But before we get exactly to that point, speaking of Georgia voters, Maya, I think we have someone kind of exciting. Do you want to introduce Sarah?
No, I want you to do it because I just want to be in the moment and just stare. I'm just excited. I'm so excited.
Okay. We're welcoming with us Sarah Wayne Callies, who is a Georgia voter. And you may know her from such television shows as The Walking Dead or Prison Break, more recently Council of Dads. But girlfriend's like raising her kids, like they've got this house in Decatur. This is like suburban mom right here up with us who gets it. So Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I love the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for doing it. And thank you so much for like stopping this talking down to suburban women thing. Like the idea that, first of all, June Cleaver was probably a badass in her own right. Like, let's be honest, she probably put on a mask and fought crime at the end of the day. But we are here owning businesses, raising our kids, making it look easy, growing our own food. Like, I feel like we're the most logistically advanced force in the United States because you can balance taking the kids to the practice and getting the food handled and like running the business and everything. So thank you for stopping the patronizing and recognizing that we're here to fight.
Yes. Yes. Okay. quick
Cheers.
audio check. Does Sarah's voice sound perfect to you, Maya?
Sounds fine.
Okay, good. It's okay. It's apparently just me. I could understand everything you said, but for some reason,
I could.
Okay, good. No, we're good. We're good. Beverly says it's me.
What's in your sweet tea?
Oh my God, Sarah, you called me out. Okay, now you sound normal. That was my fault. That was my bad. Okay, we're good. I actually did understand most of it, and thank you. Like, I love you. I love you for bringing the suburban mom power. It is, when I found out that like you actually had heard of Red, White, and Blue and what we had been doing to mobilize suburban women, like I just found that out, after we got connected actually, and it's just so powerful to know that, like how the message is spreading and how together we can bring change. We got to do this, but we got to be willing to step up and use our voices.
We do. But I think it's also partly about like, it's not changing that much, right? We have these networks of women. We have our friends that we walk down the block and we see in those moments where you're like, can I leave my son with you for an hour while I call myself together and take a shower? Like when you've got the baby and you're like, somebody needs to take this child because I've forgotten my middle name. You've got the people that like you go over to their house and you help them like do the big clean before your mother-in-law comes or whatever. They're existing networks, right? And it's just, I think, a little bit about turning to those women and going, hey, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit worried for my kids right now. So what steps can we take so that they inherit a country when they can vote that they deserve?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is so important. I think sometimes women get a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I should step out and talk about voting or anything political with people I know. I don't, want to turn someone off. And what if I don't know every fact? What if I haven't done all the research? But what you just said is it's that power of personal connection. And women know we influence each other because we know that we are there for each other. And I think that we have to remember that because that is the power that we have.
Our networks keep it all running. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting. I think we received messages. I don't ever remember this being written down, but I learned a message somewhere that my job was to make sure that I kept it running for everybody else. I think there's a moment where we get to say, it's okay to leverage that network for us too. It's okay to say, you know what? I don't feel safe as a woman in this country right now. So I'm going to take steps and I'm going to ask my friends to get involved, like in a loving way, not in a like, none of us like to feel like we're being judged or yelled at, but the way that we can talk, I think, to our friends and be like, look, I know you care about this. You know my heart. I know your heart. So I'm going to share this thing with you. And if it speaks to your heart, then let's all talk together. Let's make a little noise, drink a little tea.
Hey, nice.
Or tequila.
Right, tequila.
There may or may not be bourbon in my homemade kombucha. I'm just saying it's possible.
Excellent drinks tonight, ladies. Extra points. I'm very impressed. Yeah. So, I mean, are you just so excited that you're a Georgia voter right now, Sarah? I mean,
it's always been really moving. So, I mean, I registered to vote in Georgia when I moved there for Walking Dead. So that was 2010. And the first time that I looked on my ballot and I saw John Lewis's name, I actually burst into tears. Because I hadn't taken it on board. And I was standing there going, oh, there's so much history in this choice right now. And then a couple of years ago to vote for Stacey Abrams, it even means more in retrospect because I feel a little bit like, in Star Wars where Obi-Wan Kenobi says, if you kill me, I shall become more powerful than you could ever imagine. I feel like Stacey Abrams was like, if you don't make me governor, I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine. Like, yeah, she became a force. And to be able to have voted for those people in that state. And then now all of a sudden to be like, I went to a school where there was no prom. We didn't go in for that kind of thing. But I feel like this is what a prom queen must be like. I'd be like, oh, everybody's looking at me. Oh, interesting. Like, everybody's looking at Georgia. It's fascinating. And I think we all kind of knew it, right? Like, you feel that the Georgia of like the 1950s has shifted. You feel that your friends are progressive and open-minded and artists, or just people of values and a certain baseline of like, I don't want to elect somebody that I've got to explain to my kids why his behavior is not okay for you, dear 7-year-old. And so it feels like, I don't know, it's an exciting time. And I think Georgia's like taking its mask off. And it's like, by the way, this is me.
Except keeping it on when social distancing is not possible, obviously.
Sorry, I meant it's a superhero mask. It definitely has to keep on. It's like, yeah, sorry. Georgia, keep your mask on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Maya, what have you been hearing from women in your group who are, from Georgia, and other women who aren't, but who want to step up? Like, is that just, that's what I've been hearing, like, every day,
Yes. The women from Georgia are like, we're ready to do this work. Send us whatever you can to help, but watch us do this. Like, they're ready. They're fired up. They're like, we already did the damn thing. We're about to do it again. So that's what really makes me excited. I'm almost like, man, why didn't we move to Georgia? Because I want to be down there.
Yeah.
But the women who aren't in Georgia are like, what can we do? What can we do? I want to do more than just money. I actually want to tangibly do something. And I think that is so awesome that there's so many people from across the country that just want to sew into Georgia. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah. Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious, like, of the people that you're talking to, is it women who this is a first time kind of political involvement? Is it people who are like dyed-in-the-wool Democrats? I got to get my hands dirty this time. Like, where
this
are
is the thing I love best? Full range.
Yep.
Women who have been like leading, doing the work forever, and then so many women who, like, Trump's election was this huge wake-up call. And now they have got that fire in their belly, and the enthusiasm of, the newly, they are just bringing it full tank of gas, and that is so needed as well, and then there's other women too, who I think in this era have just been like, oh my gosh, what was I doing before? But like, wow, it's not just Trump, it's Mitch McConnell, it's all of them. And, Purdue and Loeffler, wow, I wasn't paying attention, but now I am. Yeah. And I am a part of this, and I have found a community, that this is, Maya and I talk about this all the time. Like, more than anything else, these groups is like a support group. It's like woman to woman, mom to mom, owning our power together. And it doesn't matter where you came from. It's that we're all here ready to do this right now. So yeah, right? There's so much power in that. I love that. There's just no one answer. It's no one thing. So, all right, you guys, let's get to talking about, we have got a link that is going to be shared in comments right now. It's in the copy above, like, the talkie talk. If you're watching us right now, this is the link. You're going to go to redwine.blue/peaches, because, those are peaches, and the link should be in comments too. This is where you need to click to get involved. Okay. And this is what it's about. Georgia voters right now are inundated with nasty political attack ads from Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. Okay. It was reported today, actually, that out of the dozens of ads that they are running, 100% of them are negative ads. Lies. Just 100%, not even trying to say anything positive about themselves. That is in stark contrast to the campaigns that Warnock are running, that Ossoff is running. Okay. But that is like the darkness that is being just put on the air and everywhere. And that is why as we bring light, we have got to bring light. Okay. That is what is needed out there. And we have the opportunity to do that. Like, woman to woman, mom to mom, that is the power. Now, the most important thing that we can do is uplift these authentic voices of women on the ground. And you guys know, if you're new to Red, Wine, and Blue, or, the first thing people usually know about us is that we keep it real and we keep it fun. Okay. So we are going to be creating content that highlights, that showcases, puts the spotlight on these local women who are doing the work, and these women in these suburban communities who are so ready for change. And we are going to show exactly who suburban women really are. And it has nothing to do with how we are, so often portrayed. None of the diversity of it, none of the values of it at all. We are going to portray who suburban women really are in Georgia on the ground. And then we are going to be getting that content out into the hands of voters throughout the suburbs, so all of us can own our power together as we get out that vote. If you want to be involved in this through digital organizing, through helping to get all this content out there, to share it organically, to learn how to engage in like productive online conversations, because remember, we have got to be the light here. Okay. And if you want to be a part of this woman to woman, mom to mom, getting involved in opportunities for friend to friend outreach, which is the most powerful thing. Sarah talked about our networks and the power of that and who you know. Those connections are so much power, and you all have it. And so we are going to be providing ways that all of us can act together to tap into these networks and make sure that we spread that light and love and that fun and owning who we are in all of this. And we're going to do this together. We're going to build community as we do it. We already are these communities, and we want to highlight these Georgia voices, and all of us women come around you and do this together. We're even creating a group that is just for women who are residents of Georgia called Red, Wine, and Blue Decanted. You get it. We got to decant that, Georgia. And that'll be a place for women to be sharing ideas. And if you want to get plugged into, what's going on the ground, we're going to be plugging you into all these grassroots efforts as well, because there's so much good happening. And we want to be a way to help you. If you may not be fully plugged in the ways that you want to be, we're going to help you do that. And we're going to help you tap into your voice and your network in ways that, it's going to feel good, y'all. You're going to spread the light. You're going to spread the love. Now, Sarah and Maya, we are very lucky that we get to have with us some of these women who are bringing it on the ground. Should we invite them on?
Absolutely.
This is all about these ladies.
Yeah.
Sarah, and we're bringing it with a round of applause up here. Nobody's holding back their enthusiasm tonight. Okay, so we're excited to welcome. We have with us Chinita Allen and Kate Frost. And Chinita is president of the Cobb Democratic Women, an independent group just rocking it down there in the Atlanta suburbs. And not too far, I believe, from you, also in the burbs of Atlanta, we've got Kate Frost, who is very involved in women's leadership development, getting women ready to be community leaders and running for office, which is like, oh my goodness, are we seeing more of that? And all these women flipping seats. It would like Lucy McBath on down, and I know State House and State Senate is happening too. Mm-hmm. So how are you all feeling? What is going on the ground?
Oh, well, I'll get started.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm super excited that you're here. I really, I've been in conversation with y'all, right? Deep conversation. We've talked about what's happening on the ground in Georgia and ways that we all can lift the voices of our local activists who are actually here doing a lot of the work. The fact that, you mentioned Stacey Abrams, I'm just kind of like, that's it. That's done, right? She is like queen here, fair fight, all the organizations that fall under, or fell under her leadership, ones that she started, ones that, just the folks who are involved. So, we're feeling great here. Amazing, right? Like, this is a great time to be in Georgia. This is a great time to be an American citizen, because you get to vote for what's right. But you also have women like Kate Frost who are here helping to flip different seats in Georgia. And you have ways to get involved and engage in authentic means, right? It's not like, this is day to day, like what is happening right now on the ground. So I'm super excited. Kate, what about you?
Yeah, so look, super excited too. Love that all the eyes are on us here in Georgia. Because, right, it's like, keep shining the light. That's what we need to get, because it's never going to stop. Ever since I was one of those people that woke up in 2016 and was like, something's got to give here. What am I doing? I got to wake up, and I got to help other people wake up. I will tell you that we can't rest on our laurels. And like, I know people like Sarah are down in Decatur Cobb County is almost like a totally different world up here in East Cobb. So we can't rest on our laurels. And I feel like a lot of people might have some general election fatigue, especially here where it took how many days to certify the election, and we're still calling recounts here, right? So I think, if I could ask for one thing, from everybody who's listening, just don't keep fighting the fight, keep the attention on this, because we're going through a stretch here with Thanksgiving and the holidays. People are going to start voting early, and we've got to keep fighting. We've got to get people out to vote. It's just as important as a general election. So I just want to keep the energy up and, encourage everybody to keep it going here in the next 6 weeks.
You guys are both so inspiring. And Kate, that's right. I mean, this is just as important as the general election, all right, the transition has been made official. Biden is going to be president. But the question is, will he be able to get shit done? Right? And that's the key. That is where we find out. And are we going to, go ahead and let all the people who enabled Trump, to continue to enable that agenda even after he's gone? Or
McConnell is a genius at not letting shit get done. So he's got to go. He's got to start being the minority leader.
Yes,
absolutely.
I think the minority would suit him very well.
One of my friends, I think she just said this the other day, and I thought it was so perfect. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is Biden isn't a win for democracy. He just makes the fight easier. And I loved that so much. And it resonated so much with me. Again, we can't rest. We can't rest even after January, right? No matter what happens with the Georgia Senate races, we have to keep going at every level. I mean, I was involved in a local state House district election. I volunteered for a woman's campaign, Sarah Gazelle, and she didn't win. But to your point, Katie, I learned so much, and it just encouraged me to keep going no matter what happens.
Yes. And once you find the sisterhood and we stick to this community together, there's no going back, right? I mean, we are truly all in this together, and that is key to everything we do. I actually believe a sense of community is prerequisite to action. That's what makes you want to act, right? That sense of knowing that we've got each other's back, and this is a sisterhood. I am glad the sisterhood is growing and to be in it with all of you. All right, I got to ask you guys, it's one of my favorite questions, Chinita and Kate, down there in the Atlanta suburbs, which I think you could probably be at my dad's house in about 5 minutes, both of you. But what do Republicans, what do, the media, what do they get wrong about who suburban women really are? And, speak about those Atlanta suburban women who have played such a key role in 2020 and now headed in towards this runoff.
Yeah,
it's big.
I've actually run into this quite a bit. So there have been occasions where I've been characterized as, the football team mom or the soccer mom, right? I'm so, and it's part of it is true, focused on my family, that they are my priority. But at the same time, I'm a former Georgia PTA state legislative chair, which meant with a membership of over 300,000 members. So one of my suburban mom roles was to train other advocates in all of our 159 counties on how to speak to decision makers. Now, imagine how powerful that is when helping candidates to flip seats. Imagine how powerful that is when we're in our little small networks talking and you have an issue and you have someone with my suburban skills that can help you understand how to get what you need.
Yes.
So that's one of the myths about, suburban women. Everything that we do, whether or not, we're working for our kids, our community, in an environment like this, and in a political environment such as this, all of those skills come in handy, right? We help each other. And so being out on the soccer field, going to the football games, you're speaking to other women.
Yes.
And how is that for increasing your network and getting your point and vision across?
So much power there, Chinita. We all tap it. There is nothing that we cannot do. I mean,
absolutely.
Kate, have you found that with your getting involved?
Yeah, look, it's so true. This, this myth, this notion of that the burbs are this one size fits all, right? Like, I mean, just look at Chinita and me, right? Like we may not look the same, but I bet we have a lot in common. And it's the diversity of thought, and it's bringing everyone together and lifting up all of our voices together that makes this incredible, powerful network, right? And it's right here in the suburbs. Atlanta proper, I lived in the city for years. And it's known as this, like Sarah, I mean, I'm jealous that you live in John Lewis's district, right? Like, it's so cool. Like,
I'm in the Crafts district.
Right. So, I mean, it's so awesome, right? But like this amazing, like, I feel like we've all kind of like opened up our doors and just come out and said, here's who we are. It doesn't matter where we live. Doesn't matter, what street I'm on, what color my skin is, whatever. We all have this commonality that frankly makes us so powerful. And to me, it's that diversity of thought that is so amazing. That I've just cross paths with so many cool people that I just feel like people that are on the outside looking in may not understand, or maybe they should try to understand better, because we are a powerful network.
Okay, but the message out there, that we are hearing from these Republicans is like divide and conquer. Like I was saying, 100% of these political ads, like you guys can vouch for it. You're getting inundated constantly.
Right.
They are negative. It is just, and it's lies. This socialism, like I said, divide and conquer, just untruth after untruth. Do you think that is going to work? Because that's it. That's their strategy.
I'm actually seeing defense from the candidates, Ossoff and Warnock. So they are actually responding to the ads. Now, I wish they would play a little bit more offense, but that's another discussion. But they are I'll be sure to mention that to the candidates. Y'all heard me on Facebook, right? So, but Stephen Barker. But I feel like the negativity there, it's actually motivating women and not just actually women, but people in general to work even harder. Not to mention there is a vision beyond 2020, 2021, right?
Yes.
We know that we are still building infrastructure for Stacey Abrams, and that's right. I did say I'm putting it out there.
Yes.
So for all of you who weren't thinking about it, I want you to start thinking about it now. All of the work that you're doing is building that infrastructure, continuing to build the infrastructure, and to make sure that we put her in place. Okay, so let's not get it twisted or be short-sighted.
Absolutely. I love, Chinita, you laying out that long-term vision. I mean, because that is what we're here for. I mean, this is not about any kind of short-term, just any single election. This election is as important as the general election, like you said, Kate. And Chinita, everything you're saying is true too. We are building towards something better, and now it's like, okay, Trump, you don't get the real estate that you have occupied in our brains, in our minds, that you have been for the last 4 years. We are moving on. We are building better. And how about seeing up there something, that vision of Stacey Abrams in leadership, and what that is something to build towards, that John Lewis legacy. I mean,
absolutely.
That's what we need to point towards. Yeah, Sarah, I'm going to give you the last word, because I can't believe it. I could talk to you guys all night. We are at our time. But Sarah, let me give you the last word. Thank you.
I don't need the last word, but I want to say something real quick, because you said something to me earlier today on the phone that really stuck with me, which is that Trump is not Trump by himself. Trump had an entire Republican Party who could have stood up and gone, I'm sorry, no, this is not what Christianity is. This is not what leadership is. This is not what decency is. That entire party could have stood up and said, this is white supremacy. This is misogyny. This is homophobia. And it's got to stop, because this isn't who we are. And I know that I teach my boys, if you're on the playground and somebody's getting bullied, step up. If you stand there and watch it, then you're you're responsible for this as well. And so I think Trump is an easy target because it's kind of obvious. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, that's got to go. But likewise, I think the people who sat back and chose to be silent and chose to be safe and chose not to have the integrity to say, listen, I'm sorry, this is not my leader. I reject this kind of thinking. I reject this kind of divisiveness. To me, that's what this election is about, is saying, David Perdue, I'm holding you accountable for not stepping up and being a better man than this. And so, you know, I didn't want to have to put on my big girl pants and get into this fight, but like, we're here now. We're here now, and you can't get rid of us.
That's right. I mean, that's
Don't
so
come
true.
to me unless I send for you. Is that what you're saying, Sarah?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
A little bit, right?
That is the mom power right there, though. You know, we would not allow, we talked a lot about throughout this campaign how if, you know, our children behaved the way Trump did, they would just be in perpetual, like they'd be in timeout for always, just done, you know. But that's true too, Sarah, what you said, you know, if they enable that kind of behavior in their friends, that's not allowed either. You know, we stand up when we say, when something is wrong. And they had their chance to do that. They did not do that. In fact, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are just riding right on that train. And so it's not okay. And we're going to call it out as moms. We're going to stick with this sisterhood together. We're going to uplift Georgia women. We're all going to sign up and work our hearts out and be involved and use our voices and tap our networks. Maya, what do you think?
I agree with everything. I think that Kelly Loeffler, being a woman, should have known better, right? She should have known better, and she didn't. So it's time for us to come collect her.
Hey,
Love it.
Oh, I like that. I really like that.
all right.
Collect her.
Ladies, I am so excited to work with y'all going forward and all the other
Katie, can I mention one thing that I would be totally remiss if I did not mention that the NAACP is having a phone bank. And they have a mission of on the ground of they have at least 25 counties across Georgia that they are working with to increase the voter turnout. And so they are, you know, they're not focused on a specific candidate, but they are working on increasing the turnout. And so there may be a link that can be put in the comments.
We will put it there.
If anyone wants to volunteer, please click on the link. There's even like there's even a phone bank link that you can click on for training tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Nice.
Thank you.
Amen. This is what we're here to do. Plug women in, because it's going to take all of us. This is all hands on deck. And we're going to have fun while we do it, because we're in this together. And this is a community. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, all right, all in. I'm putting my hand in towards all of you. This is all in.
Cheers.
Go team.
Go team.
Cheers. Hey, Georgia. God bless you all.